What is good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. I'm LotusAsakura, the one who never knows best, and today I'm bringing you a Dragon Ball Z game video of sorts, but it's a little bit different. We've been trying a lot of different things on the channel lately, so I guess this isn't too much of a surprise. But I want to bring you guys a tier list video, and I'm surprised I've never done this before because it feels like tier list videos were all the rage at some point, and every YouTuber other than me was doing them. And obviously, as a DBFZ player, it only makes sense to have done a Dragon Ball games tier list since I play a lot of Dragon Ball games growing up, and I just never got around to doing it. So I don't know what made me decide that today of all days was a good day to do it, but here we are. I found this tier list on Tier Maker, and I'm gonna go ahead and start ranking Dragon Ball games. And what I am gonna have to do is actually create an additional tier because there obviously are going to be some games that I have not played. So there will be games in the haven't played tier. I guess we'll just make it white. So we're just going to go ahead and throw those in there real quick. Okay, and with most of those out of the way, we can actually start getting into the tier list now. There's still a few more in here that I've never seen, like this one, for example, and some games I did release in the States that I just never played that will also be added to this tier. Like, I don't even know what on earth that is. Wait, is that Zenkai Battle Royale? Obviously, I've never played that one. I don't think it got an American release, but yeah, let's move on to the games that I actually have heard of, had played. And let's just kick it off with Budokai 3, since I see it right here. Look, man, I think Budokai 3 is an obvious S tier. The Budokai games are the classic. Those first three, man, okay. Budokai 1 aged, and it shows its age, but Budokai 3 was probably my favorite, not only Dragon Ball game, but video game of all time for quite a while. And it's one that I could still go back to, and obviously it's aged as well. And it's, we have better games or more advanced games now. But man, Budokai 3 is the one that's always going to hold a special place in my heart. Now, this actually isn't the box art that we got in the States, I don't believe. I don't know if this was the Japanese art or like a European art or whatever. Because the one we got, or at least the one that I got, is like Goku with like the black background and he's Super Saiyan doing like the punch or whatever. But yeah, man, Budokai 3, easy S tier, and you can't debate me on that one. Another easy S tier is going to be Tenkaichi 3. Now, if you're going to ask me to pick between Budokai 3 and Tenkaichi 3, I have more sentimental value, attachment, nostalgia to Budokai 3. So I'm going to say Budokai 3. Now, I got Tenkaichi 3 when it came out. Maybe not right when it came out, but I got it as like a Christmas present that year or whatever. It's a classic, man. I spent countless hours playing that game. Everything from Budokai 1, 2, 3, Tenkaichi 1, 2, 3, etc., etc. I put my hours into those games. I love Tenkaichi 3 a lot. But Tenkaichi 3 is probably not even my favorite Tenkaichi game. I'm almost tempted, low-key, to put it down here to 18, but I know y'all gonna come out with the pitchforks and torches if I do that, so we ain't even gonna do all that. So I'm just gonna save everybody of that trouble. I think this is another one of the Dragon Ball Heroes games. I haven't played that. I haven't played this one. Some of these games you can see are like old Game Boy or like Nintendo games that I never had the chance to try out for myself. Okay, you know what? I might actually have to make one more tier real quick. I think it's only right that we make an F tier. This will be F tier, and then we'll go back to this being the D tier. Okay, cool. And the first game I'm putting an F tier is gonna hurt some of y'all feelings, and that's fine by me. But I'm putting Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle smooth in F tier. Look, you like Dokkan Battle, power to you, bro. I'm happy for you. But you got me bent out here playing Dragon Ball Z Candy Crush. I'm good. I tried the game. I played it for a bit, like years ago, and I'm like, this just ain't hitting. I'm just not trying to sit here and pop some bubbles. Now, I know what you're thinking. You might be a Legends player. Let's go, Legends, we up. You know what I'm saying? Because surely Legends is in the same tier as Dokkan Battle, right? That's probably what you think. Like, Legends is the way better game. I know there's a big feud between people who play Legends and Dokkan Battle. Some of you play both. Some of you pick one or the other. Well, Legends enjoyers, go ahead, start popping the bottles of champagne. A toast to you guys. I'll put Legends in the D tier. That's as good as I'll give it. That's as good as it's gonna go. You know what? I almost feel like, cause I see another one here. I'm doing these in all out of order and whatnot. I never played this one either. I see this here. I see this thing here. I've never played this either. There's another game here that's gonna ruffle some feathers when I put its placement on the tier list. And these are subject to change. I still might move it around a little bit as we go through this. But there's another game here that I want to put on the list, but y'all not gonna like where I put it, man. Y'all really not gonna like where I put it. Yeah. Look, Raging Blast 2 is like bottom 3 Dragon Ball games I have ever played. And I know you clicked off the video, the dislike button is being hit. I understand. But that game sucked. It was not fun at all. It was not fun to play. I honestly feel like Raging Blast 2 is a step down from Raging Blast 1. I understand that some of you guys grew up with the Raging Blast games the same way I grew up with the Budokai games. You might think Raging Blast was way better than the Budokai, and if that's how you feel, that's what you think, you know, we're all wrong sometimes. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and then move Raging Blast up to the C tier, is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Raging Blast goes in the C tier. I might, like I said, move some of these around, so it's not set in stone. But yeah, and then we got Shin Budokai. Again, I'm just picking these out of order. I think Shin Budokai is at least a B tier game. The Shin Budokai games are basically the Budokai games for PSP, and I actually think I have, yeah, I do. If I just reach over on this shelf over here, I actually have Shin Budokai and Shin Budokai Another Road sitting right over here. So yeah, the Shin Budokai games on PSP, they're at least B tier. They might even get moved up to A depending on how we move things around. Dragon Ball Evolution, I never actually played this game. I believe this was also on PSP, and I think this was just Shin Budokai, or basically Budokai but with the Dragon Ball Evolution skin. I would damn near throw it in the dear F tier just off that alone, but I'll be honest to say I never played it. Budokai 1 I think also goes in the B tier. It's a game I can still definitely go back and enjoy and have a lot of fun with. Maybe even that's me being generous with the nostalgia goggles on and whatnot, putting it up to high and putting it above Raging Blast. I know y'all are not happy about that. But despite the age Budokai shows, man, I could personally still go back and play that game and have some fun. I haven't in years at this point, but over the course of my life, I have gone back and played the Budokai games multiple times, and I always have fun with them, man. And real ones remember, this is a PS5 controller. Matter of fact, I guess it's a little bit more accurate if I at least use a PS4 controller, even though we was on the PS2 back then. But real ones remember fighting Raditz and tearing the skin off your palm with this joint right here. You know what I'm saying? If you don't got permanent scars in your hand from Budokai 1, are you even really a Dragon Ball fan? Yeah, you might be. You might have just been born after the year 2000, but I digress. Budokai 1's a classic, man. It paved the way for a lot of future great games, most notably all the sequels in the series. But yeah, I just personally would not be able to bring myself to put it anything lower than the B tier right now, I don't think. Then there's Tenkaichi Tag Team. I never got to play this one. I don't even know when I found out tag team was a thing, but I never actually got my hands on that. So unfortunately, I can't really rank that one. I see we have Tenkaichi 1 though. Okay, I'm not putting it in the C tier. I'm not putting it in the C tier. Tenkaichi 1 was a game changer. Okay, when this game first dropped, maybe I should put that in the A tier. I feel like Tenkaichi 1 might have to go in the A tier. When Tenkaichi 1 came out, that intro blew my mind. This was the first game we got in the Budokai series with the Tenkaichi name, obviously, right? We went from Budokai 1, Budokai 2, Budokai 3. Then they didn't go to Budokai 4. It was Budokai Tenkaichi, which is obviously the reference to the tournament in the series of Dragon Ball, the Tenkaichi Budokai. But this game was so different. It was like 3D. You could pick the different characters like already in their forms and stuff. And I just remember as a kid just being like mind blown, like jaw drop. Actually, I got a story about Tenkaichi. This game came out shortly before my birthday, and I remember being at a friend's house, and he got the game already ahead of time, and he invited me over to his crib to come play. And I sat at his house, and we played Tenkaichi for hours. Mind you, I'm a pretty young kid at this time, and I do believe I had a cell phone by then. I'm the oldest of several siblings, so I got a cell phone pretty early on because I would spend time babysitting my siblings while my parents were away at work or out or whatever. So yeah, so I had a cell phone pretty early on, and I believe it was like a week away from my birthday, and they were like, it's time to come home, you know, dinner's ready, whatever. And I was devastated, bro. I was so sad that they told me to come home, because all I wanted to do was sit there and play Tenkaichi. I get home, I'm very visibly, obviously upset. Like, it's all over my face. My parents like, boy, what's wrong with you? And I'm just like, nothing, it's cool. You know, I was having a great time, whatever. I might know where this is going. I already mentioned that my birthday was coming up. I'm eating dinner, whatever. Just like not talking at all, just looking down at my plate. I finished and I'm like, all right, guys, I'm gonna go to my room and lie down or whatever. Then my dad he looks over at my mother. They smile at each other, you know what I'm saying? Walk to the bedroom, walk back out. We was gonna save this for your birthday, but maybe you can use this right about now. and they hand me Dragon Ball Z Tenkaichi, and I did backflips, boy. Ooh, you couldn't tell me nothing. I was ready to go to bed. Ain't no bed. Straight to the bedroom. I'm on it. I was on that game all night, boy. Oh man, I was so geeked. I was so hyped. I was so excited because I genuinely didn't expect that for that to even be a birthday gift, to be honest, let alone for them to walk into the bedroom and bring it back out to me. Yeah, I was going crazy. I played it all day, all night for the rest of the night until I went to sleep. Good times, man. Good times. Great memory. Great memory. And then I believe this is Tenkaichi 2. And see, this is why I feel like because Tenkaichi 2 definitely needs to be above Tenkaichi 1. So I feel like I want to move it down here. Then I feel like I got to move some of these around because Tenkaichi 2 like took everything Tenkaichi did. Like Tenkaichi laid the groundwork, right? And it created the skeleton for the series for this next installment in the Budokai line and like took it to another level. Tenkaichi 2, I honestly, bro, maybe I could leave Tenkaichi here because then I feel like Tenkaichi 2, I like it even more than 3. And if I have 3 in the S tier, then I gotta have 2 in the S tier. Tenkaichi 2 was that one for me. I think I liked that game more than I liked 3. 3 was great and it had even more stuff in it, but I couldn't tell you what it was specifically or in particular. I just remember the nights I spent on Tenkaichi 2 just hit different than BT3. Also, I feel like I've said Budokai and Tenkaichi so many times, it's like it's becoming redundant. But yeah, I think that's cool. I think that's cool. And I see we got Burst Limit down here. Burst Limit is going in the S tier. Burst Limit is also going in the S tier. Remind you that when I'm ranking these, it's just in the context of Dragon Ball games. If I was ranking these as video games, just specifically, these might be different. Now, obviously, I was holding them to today's standard, it might be different. But just in the context of Dragon Ball games, as I remember them, this is how my rankings are going. I personally believe, which is evident by this tier list, that Burst Limit was the best Dragon Ball game on that generation of consoles. I think Burst Limit smacks, and I mean smacks, the Raging Blast games. Because basically Burst Limit was Budokai, but on the next generation. Like that's basically what it is. That's basically what it was. It's like of all the games that came like after it, like after the Tenkaichi games, it's the one that's most like a Budokai 3. And it was a beautiful game. It was just unfinished. The thing that sucked about Burst Limit is that it went up to, from what I remember, like the Cell Saga, and then it ended. We never even got Boo. And I always hoped for like a Burst Limit 2, and it just never came. Really unfortunate, but it is what it is. Dragon Ball Origins I never played. Revenge of King Piccolo I never played. Really wanted that game, never got a chance to actually try it. As you can see, there's going to be a lot of games here in this list that I never played. Budokai 2. Budokai 2, man. I think Budokai 2 has to go in the A tier. For me, personally, Budokai 2 is goated, okay? Well, I can't say goated, it's an A tier, it's not an S tier. But I know a lot of people feel, it's kind of polarizing. People are mixed on Budokai 2 because that one was kind of like the chessboard, not chess, but you know what I'm saying? Like you move the characters across the map or whatever, like the little icons. People didn't like that story mode. I did. It was kind of fun. I don't really know what they were referencing or what they took inspiration from for the way the Budokai 2 story mode works, but it worked for me. I know a lot of people really didn't enjoy it, but I did. Also, another thing about that game, it was really crazy because you got the fusions in that game. Like you could play Vegito in that game, and that was like I still remember. This is getting dull. You did the Spirit Sword Super. I remember I had a homie named Edward, and he got Budokai 2 before I did. I played at his house. I feel like that's a reoccurring trend with me in Dragon Ball games. A friend of mine getting it before me and then me getting it later. And I actually remember how I got Budokai 2 as well. Y'all gonna laugh. My great grandmother growing up was my best friend. May she rest in peace. She passed away when I was still pretty young, but I used to go to bingo with her, right? My grandmother, she played bingo as some elderly folk do. And sometimes she would take me. And one day I actually won at bingo. It wasn't a lot. It was $100. But for a kid, that's a lot of money. And I remember, I mean, any money I got as a kid, it immediately went to video games. I don't know about y'all, but any money I got, birthday, whatever, report card, you got straight A's, just a present, a gift, video games. Take me to GameStop, take me to the video game section at Walmart. And I spent that money on Pokemon Ruby, Dragon Ball Z, Budokai 2, and food. and food. Like I actually remember because at the time I was living in a different state from my grandmother, I believe. And so I think when we were on our way back to my home state with my parents, we stopped at McDonald's and I paid for everyone's McDonald's, and then I just spent the rest on like candy and stuff. I'm pretty sure. Like I said, I was a kid, so I blew through that money very quickly, but I didn't regret it at all. And I had some great times and some great memories on Budokai 2. That one's going into A tier for me right now. And then here we have the Budokai 1 and 3 HD collection. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that, I guess, here in the B tier because it's Budokai 1, it's Budokai 3. And so it's basically the same thing, but with like different music, and that's what makes it as good, I guess, as Budokai 1, but not as great as Budokai 3. I guess I could throw it here in the A tier. Why throw it in the A? Yeah, I'll leave it there in the A tier. That's fine for now. That's fine for now. This one I never played. Let's see some other ones. I never got to play this one either. I've never even seen this one. Okay, and down here we have a lot of games that we're obviously going to talk a bit about. We are going to get to. I believe this is Dragon Ball Super Heroes World Mission, right? This is the one that came out on the Switch, if I'm not mistaken. This game is sick. Okay, when this game came out, me and my homie Thundershot put so much time into this game. Dragon Ball, this World Mission game, Dragon Ball Heroes World Mission, might have been my favorite game on the Nintendo Switch if it wasn't for Fire Emblem Three Houses. Fire Emblem Three Houses is incredible. If you never played it, highly recommend. But World Mission, I was putting hours into that game, grinding, trying to figure out strategies and everything, and we had a blast. We had a field day. That game was an easy S tier for me. I don't know about y'all, but yeah. And then we have Dragon Ball Z Infinite World. I'm not gonna lie, Infinite World is basically Budokai 3, and some people, like my homie Ramstyle, would say that Infinite World is better than Budokai 3, and I get why, because there's a couple extra characters, I think some extra stages. They take out like the Dragon Rush mechanic. I know now when we hear Dragon Rush, we think of like you know, the throw in DBFZ, but Dragon Rush back then was something very different, and a lot of people did not like that mechanic. But I like the story mode and everything in Budokai 3 a lot more, and like I said, I put way more time into Budokai 3. I didn't play Infinite World until much later, but Infinite World is a game I think that kind of got screwed over because it came out on the PS2 when the PS3 was already out. And then yeah, I'm putting it in the A tier. Great game. It's basically Budokai 3, but some people think it's better. I like Budokai 3 more. It just is what it is. It could very easily be in a lot of people's S tier though. We have Dragon Ball Sagas. Dragon Ball Sagas for me is a game that I had a lot of fun with as a kid, but I know if I went back, I'd be like, wow, this game is pretty terrible. It aged like milk, because I know it's not a great game, but it's still, I would still rather go back and play that than play Dokkan, than play Legends. I'm not a big mobile game guy. I'd rather go back and play that than Raging Blast 2. And I don't hate Raging Blast. Yeah, we're gonna leave Sagas in the C tier. You know what? I'm definitely gonna leave it here because it being above Legends, Raging Blast 2, and Dokkan Battle makes me laugh, because I know it's gonna anger a lot of other people. We have Dragon Ball Z Taiketsu, which was not a great game, not a great game at all. Supersonic Warriors, and we have I saw Supersonic Warriors 2 somewhere as well. Oh yeah, here it is. Supersonic Warriors and Supersonic Warriors 2. I very vaguely remember. I'm gonna throw them here in the C tier. If I'm gonna be honest, I hardly even remember these games, but I don't remember hating them. You see, we're saving some of the good stuff for later. Fusions, I never got a chance to play. I actually owned Dragon Ball Fusions digitally, but I never owned a DS. Now, how does that work, you might ask? Rhymestyle, around the time that we started becoming friends, had an extra code for Dragon Ball Fusions, and he gave it to me just randomly as a gift. And I was like, I don't even have a DS. He's like, just save it, you'll get one. And to this day, my entire life, I've never owned a Nintendo DS, so I never got to play Fusions, even though I owned a code for it. Battle of Z, I actually surprisingly never played that game. For the Kinect, never played that one either. Ultimate Battle 22, I own it, but I've never played it. But I have it on PlayStation just as a collector's item right here. From what I understand, this game's not very good, but I got it. I've never got the chance to play it because I didn't buy it till I was an adult, but yeah. Then we have Final Bout, which I also own but never played. I thought I saw GT Transformation. I own it but never played it. This card game, never played it. Legendary Super Warriors. I actually still own this game on my Game Boy, or for my Game Boy. It's not an F tier game. I think I'm also putting Super Warriors in C tier. Yeah, it is okay. I had some fun with it. I maybe B tier actually. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the B tier. I'm gonna put it in the B tier because I could definitely go back and enjoy that more than I would like Sagas. I think I almost feel like I should move Supersonic Warriors 1 and 2 down. I damn near feel like I should put them in haven't played, but I know that I did play them. Ultimate Tenkaichi I actually never played. I watched a lot of it. I watched a lot of Ultimate Tenkaichi. Damn, I didn't realize there were so many games I hadn't played of Dragon Ball, because it feels like I've played and owned so many over the years, and this is a decent amount, but there's so many that I haven't. There's way more that I haven't. Ultimate Tenkaichi. So story with Ultimate Tenkaichi. I was in GameStop, right? not too long after Ultimate Tenkaichi came out. And I remember watching so many videos, and I didn't know this until years later, but I used to watch a lot of Omega and Kagi when they made Ultimate Tenkaichi videos, and I didn't even realize that I used to watch those videos from them when I met them until later on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't remember how I figured this out. I think it was because Omega named his character in Xenoverse Asproagus, which was his Ultimate Tenkaichi character's name, and I was like, wait, Asproagus, bro, I used to watch your old Ultimate Tenkaichi. Like, by the time I realized that, like, Omega and I were homies, Kagi and I were homies, like, we were friends, and we were all part of squad, right? I didn't even realize that I used to watch their stuff from that much further back until then. But yeah, I never played it. But the story with Ultimate Tenkaichi is I was in GameStop, and in one hand I held Ultimate Tenkaichi, in the other hand I held Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 2. And a young Lotus made a decision that day that he would not regret, and I think it's a safe bet to say that I made the right choice. With enough money for one game, and I walked out with Ultimate Ninja Storm 2. I think I made the right call. And then we have Legacy of Goku, one of my first Dragon Ball games. I remember my great-grandmother bought this for me on the Game Boy. Easily the worst out of the Legacy of Goku trilogy. I'm counting Boo's Fury as the Legacy of Goku trilogy. But it was still pretty cool, man. I really liked it. It's for me, it's basically like on the same caliber as Budokai 1, which is exactly what's going beside Budokai 1, where it was the first one in a series of games. I had a lot of fun with it. I liked it. It definitely aged and shows its age. But I could definitely still go back and have some fun with it, even though it's clearly the worst in the series. And I would rather play that than any of these other ones below it. Then we also have Legacy of Goku 2, which has to go in at least A tier. And then we're putting Boo's Fury in S tier for sure. The Legacy of Goku trilogy is great. I would pay a lot of money, and by a lot of money I just mean like $60 or like the full price or whatever, to have the Legacy of Goku trilogy, or at least Legacy of Goku 2 and Boo's Fury, like ported or remade or whatever. Put those on the Switch. And like, I don't think it's possible because of Atari or Fro Games or whoever. Like, I don't remember. I don't think it's possible legally. But I would do a lot of things to get those games on my Nintendo Switch. That would be really, really cool to get those games remade. I don't think it'll ever happen though. A fun story with Boo's Fury, actually. I have 2 copies of it. You might be wondering why. Well, as a kid, I had Boo's Fury. It was one of my favorite games. And I had this little Game Boy pouch. I still have all this stuff laying around. I'm not gonna pull out every single thing every single time, but I had a little Game Boy Advance carrying pouch with a front pouch for the game, and then for the Game Boy, and then another pouch with like for all your games and stuff, right? I lost it one day at my grandmother's house with Boo's Fury inside the pouch. I still had my Game Boy because I had it on me at the time, but I just lost the pouch, whatever. Couldn't find it, searched the house top to bottom. Again, I lived in a different state from my family, well, from my extended family. And so I went back to my home state with my parents, with most of my games missing, lost in the pouch. My parents knew how much I love that game. Basically, they got me another copy of it. And then eventually my grandmother found my pouch months later and shipped it to me. And I've had 2 copies of Boo's Fury ever since. Moving on, we have Super DBZ, which I'm going to put B tier. I remember being really excited about this game. I didn't get it until years later, but I remember being really excited about this game because Chi-Chi was playable. Young Lotus was really, really hyped to play as Chi-Chi, and I didn't get that chance anytime soon, but yeah. And then we have, there's some more games I want to actually throw on this list, like Kakarot's not here. I want Kakarot to be here just so I can throw it in F tier. We have Dragon Ball Xenoverse, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, and Dragon Ball Fighter. And I'm gonna put Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1. Dragon Ball Xenoverse was revolutionary, and I feel like I might even want to move it up to the A tier. But Dragon Ball Xenoverse took what you were able to do in Ultimate Tenkaichi with the idea of creating a character and customizing them, and took it to another level, man. As a kid, I've always wanted to be able to create my own character in Dragon Ball or Naruto. We have games that have done that for us, although Shinobi Striker not the best Naruto game to do that in. But when Xenoverse came out, I was so into that game, man. And the same thing goes for Xenoverse 2. And I've talked a lot in a negative light about Xenoverse 2. But for better or worse, man, I played that game a lot. I think I would be lying or being like disingenuous if I didn't have Xenoverse and Xenoverse 2 pretty high on the tier list. Like, obviously I talk trash about these games now, and I'm gonna put Xenoverse 2 in the A tier, and I feel like I might even put it up to the S tier. But I have a lot of gripes with these games, but I had a lot of great times with these games. When Xenoverse 2 came out, or was it Xenoverse 1? I can't remember. It depends on how old I was. It might have been Xenoverse 1, because I don't think I was still in school when Xenoverse 2 came out. Either way, when one of these games came out, I dead ass skipped school for 3 days to play that game. I was having a field day, bro. I was so in love with that game. And Xenoverse 2 like did everything Xenoverse did and improved it. And in some ways it took a step back. And Xenoverse 2 for me holds a special place in my heart, but it's not a game that I speak highly of anymore, could ever go back to, just because it's so flawed, just from a functional standpoint. Like from a concept, from gameplay, and even the story mode, I like it. A lot of people didn't, but it just didn't function. Like the netcode is really bad, the hit detection and like the balancing. It's a game that still gets support and content to this day, and it still has a loyal fan base and following, like a cult behind it. And I had a lot of fun with it. I put countless hours into it. I maxed out so many characters and ran through that story so many times and did so much with it. And it's the reason why I became friends with Rhyme Style and Thundershot and how I got introduced to Squad and everything like that. And that's another reason why it's got to go up here for me, just for that value alone. But yeah, good times, bad times, but I still remember the good times. I'd be lying to myself if I put it anywhere lower than that. And last but not least, we have DBFZ. I know some of y'all probably laughed or chuckled there for a second because I dropped in the F tier, but S tier. Dragon Ball FighterZ is an S tier Dragon Ball game. No matter how I feel about it right now or how infrequently I've been playing it as of late, this game changed my life. And for the better. Like, it allowed me to support myself, do a lot of things I never would have been able to otherwise, meet so many people, travel, and it frankly is just a game I've enjoyed more than any other in my entire life of playing Dragon Ball games. What DBFZ has done for me is like priceless, honestly. The memories I've created, the people I've met, everything, the opportunities it's presented me, everything I've been able to do and accomplish is mostly due to DBFZ these last few years. So no matter where this game goes, whatever happens to it, or what I might say, Dragon Ball FighterZ is my favorite Dragon Ball game of all time, and it's probably still my favorite video game of all time. The other games that are up there with it are like Pokemon Crystal, Digimon World 3, Persona 5. These are games that are like some of my favorites of all time, and Persona 5 is like, sometimes I go back and forth, you know, which one's my favorite. But even though Persona 5 is probably a better game overall, in my opinion, is something that like really hit me a certain way, like and I really enjoyed. Like I said, what DBFZ did for me is priceless, man. So it's got to be up there in the S tier for sure, and not even just S tier, but the very top, #1. Yeah, and that's my tier list. Like I said, there's a lot of games here that I didn't play, so it's hard to kind of put them anywhere. I didn't realize how many that I did not play. Like obviously some of these we never even got in the States, but some of these like this whole bottom row here, and some of these here is just like, wow, Lotus never played those, and well, yeah, I just never got around to it. I wish Kakarot was here so I could throw it in F tier, but it's not. But yeah, that is my tier list. That went on for way longer than I thought it was going to, but hopefully you enjoyed it, man. And that was pretty fun. I had a lot more to talk about than I thought. I should do more tier lists, I feel like. I've done tier lists sometimes on the stream, but I've never made videos about them, and I should make more videos about them. I don't know if you guys want to see it, so if you do, let me know in the comments. Hit this video with a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already so you can stay tuned for all this content I'm trying to bring you. With all that being said, it's pretty much off today, and remember, nothing can happen until you swing the bat. Later.